Well, a former top Pentagon official says former U.S. President Barack Obama cooperated with the Kremlin to avoid the collapse of the Assad regime in Syria. Andrew Exum served in the Obama administration helping with Middle East policy. Now, Exum says the Obama administration was worried the fall of Assad would endanger the security of Israel and risk U.S. interests in the region. For more, TRT World Research Center's Tarek Cherkaoui joins me now live in the studio. Thanks so much for coming in. First, tell us, what else has been revealed in this written testimony, and why does it actually matter at this point?
I think it's a very important testimony. It's one of the few candid voices right now about what happened in Syria, because there was a lot of noise before, a lot of people saying a lot of things. From the end of spectrum, people saying that Russia outsmarted the US and did whatever they wanted to do in Syria, to the others who say that the US is becoming weak and disengaging from the Middle East. While now with this testimony of Dr. Andrew Exum, who is one of the bright minds that worked for the Pentagon, and he was actually somebody who made his way through the army, and then he also got his academic credentials. He basically now is telling us the truth about what happened behind closed doors and how the decisions about Syria were made.
But given now what has transpired in Syria over the past 5 years, some might argue the Obama administration can feel vindicated because a stable Syria, albeit under a dictator, is a better alternative to the chaos and the rise of Daesh that ensued after Syria was destabilized. So the Syrian revolution, if we can even call it that, broke out. Would you agree?
It's a perspective, but I don't agree with that statement, because I think at the end of the day, what we've seen is a continuation of a strategy, the strategy of dual containment, whereby the US has made the regime quite uncomfortable and very weak for the first years, and then when they saw that there is a tipping point reached by the rebellion and by the people in the anti-Assad camp, then they shifted to make the regime of Assad not collapse entirely, hence the use of the Russians and the Iranians in the conflict.
What do you think Israel wanted? If this is all true, and the Obama administration was talking to Russia about keeping Assad in power to keep relative stability, yes. The U.S. says it was acting in the interest of Israel. So how is this good for Israel today, the destabilization of Syria?
Absolutely. I think ultimately the goal is to have fragile and weak states in the region. And I think if we go to the bottom of this, the weakness now of the Syrian state, it will take decades before they can just be back to what they were like 10 years ago. It will take them 30 years.
Whose interest does that really serve?
I think it's the interest of Israel. And I think in this testimony of Andrew Exum, he mentioned Israel, that this was in the best interest of Israel, is to have Assad regime there, because it's stability and not its fall, but not also its complete strength. So it's a midway tactic whereby you have at the same time the Assad regime in place, but at the same time this is not a regime that can threaten anybody in the region and will be weak and malleable for the US foreign policy.
Okay, Tarek, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for that.